Good performance doesn't necessarily equal individual security. One of the hardest realities to accept is that you can exceed your goals, you can be a great team member, you can deliver exceptional results, but you still can be affected by organizational restructuring. We'll call it mergers, acquisitions, cost optimization, technology adoptions, leadership changes. All these things, irregardless of your performance, can change your outlook with the company.
Welcome to the Hire Yourself podcast, the show for senior level executives who are done renting their income and are ready to take control of their future. My name is Gilfillan. I spent decades in the corporate America before hiring myself, becoming an entrepreneur, best-selling author, and a franchise consultant. Now I help others stop relying on one paycheck, one job, and one boardroom decision. If you're ready to take control of your destiny, to build wealth, and to live life on your own terms, then you're in the right place.
Welcome to the Hire Yourself podcast. My name is Pete Gilfillan. I am excited to be here today. In the Hire Yourself podcast is really a show for corporate executives and professionals ready to take control of their destiny, to build wealth, and to live life on their own terms. And today we're going to be talking about one of the biggest misconceptions that are happening in corporate America. Many people believe that if a company is doing well, their profits are growing, their share prices are climbing, that they have a secure job. And unfortunately, that is not necessarily the case anymore. We're seeing a growing trend where, companies are having record profits, their shares are growing, but there is what the economists would call it is that it is the jobless boom, where these companies are deciding to maybe go a little different direction. So what we're going to try to talk about today, or the question we're going to answer, is that why are companies reporting strong financial results while still laying off corporate executives or employees? And what does this mean for your career and your future? So many companies don't necessarily just reduce headcounts. They're really kind of looking at this as a long-term play. So they're reducing their headcounts, they're changing, maybe they're reallocating capital, maybe they're investing in AI, maybe they're restructuring operations, maybe they're just simplifying their organizations. But the deal is that we're seeing companies, and their number one responsibility for public companies is that they're trying to optimize for shareholders or shareholder value. So sometimes what that means is they're investing heavily into AI, or they're simplifying their organizational structures, or they're eliminating duplicate roles, or improving operation margins, or just redirecting capital towards higher growth opportunities. So with these decisions, while the revenue and profits continue to grow, they continue to reduce headcounts. And an example would this be is Oracle just reported annual revenue of $67 billion, yet they confirmed they were also reducing their workforce by over 21,000 people, citing AI deployment, restructuring, and strategic priorities for the contributing factors. So we're seeing more and more of that. And AI is changing the economics of the white collar worker. Bottom line is that the restructuring, this is artificial intelligence, they're eliminating repetitive work. They're improving productivity. They're operating with fewer layers and redeploying talent into strategic initiatives. And so we're seeing more and more of this investment towards technology, and that certainly is impacting the number of corporate executives. And good performance doesn't necessarily equal individual security. One of the hardest realities to accept is that you can exceed your goals, you can be a great team member, you can deliver exceptional results, but you still can be affected by organizational restructuring. We'll call it mergers, acquisitions, cost optimization, technology adoptions, leadership changes. All these things, irregardless of your performance, can change your outlook with the company. And there's a psychological shift that's going on with executives that they need to kind of look at now, is this idea that I can perform well and I'll always have opportunities. My performance doesn't absolutely dictate it, but we're seeing more and more that you can be in a position where maybe you are doing a great job, but you're not getting where you want to go. And so as we look at the corporate world, you got to kind of understand that it doesn't matter how great you are, how well you're working. Bottom line is that if they've got a merger acquisition or there's something else going on, you may be out of a role. And that's why more executives are exploring business opportunities. They don't want to quit today. They're really just looking to diversify their income. Maybe they're creating a bridge to ultimately escape the corporate world. Maybe they're building an asset that they can have on the side. Maybe they just want to build wealth outside of the paycheck. And so a franchise may be able to do that. And ownership creates a different kind of security. When you have your own business, you can never be eliminated, you never be laid off. You can't be mergered out or acquisitioned out or a new leadership team comes in. It's you. You're building the team. You're building the organization. You're building wealth. And it's your business to manage. It's your cash flow. It's your equity in the business. It's your long-term value. And so you're making the decisions that are best for you, opposed to a company that, again, is making decisions on driving profitability, shareholder value. And so bottom line is that you don't want to wait to make this decision before it's too late. When you get laid off, that's a tough time to try to be figuring out. You want to be setting up plan B now. So when you do get that severance package, you get merged out, you get acquisitioned out, whatever it may be, bottom line is your position. So the days where, you work hard and you know that you're going to have security, those days are gone. Companies' priority is to maximize profitability, efficiency, and leverage their capital where they can get the best return. So one of the easiest ways to reduce expenses is to get rid of employees. So your job is to start setting up plan B, to take that business acumen, that leadership skills that you've gained in the corporate world, and invest in something where you're the business owner, where you are in control so you can never be pushed out. It's your business, you're growing, you have that true security that used to come with a corporate job that is no longer existing. So if this is something you're interested in, I encourage you to go to hireyourself.com, schedule a quick time with me so I can learn a little bit more about your situation. I can tell you about the free service I offer to help you explore franchising as a potential path to build wealth, to take control of your destiny and live life in your own terms. Also, I encourage you to like and subscribe to the podcast. And with that, have a great day.